How about them, Claire? Copy. Hell no. Today. Edit. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's go. How do I minimize this? Watch settings. Alright, cool. Can I move it to the other side? How do I do that? Chat. Scenes. Chat box. Okay. Alright, I'll leave it. Fine. Alright, New York session. Let's get ready for it. Let's get ready for it. Alright, so we played out here. Let's see if we double back into here. It's possible. What's good? Good. How about him, damn it. Alright, so oils like that. I do think we can go higher. Yeah. Alright, cool. Alright, so oil oil, I think we're gonna go higher. Yes, guys. If you lot are new here, thank you for joining. Live for the New York session today. 90-minute session. We'll see what we can get. A lot of news this week. We've got the interest rate for the US coming out tomorrow. So definitely focused on the dollar to see what the dollar does tomorrow. And we've also got inflation for the UK today. So GBP pairs is going to be focused tomorrow. And then on Thursday, you've got the interest rate for the UK. So the Bank of England is speaking. So we're going to have to see what's good with that. This is what the dollar's looking like so far. Okay, so kind of range bound. Definitely got reasons to go up and also reasons to come down too. So this level is going to be key. Overall, depending on how the interest rate is tomorrow, I'd like to see us potentially push up first. So I want to see something like this. If we go down first, then it could be a reason to then go up like this and then come down. So that's what I got in mind. So I'm not expecting much from the dollar today, to be honest with you. For the simple fact that, yeah, we have the interest rate. I feel like it's going to stall out till then. If you look at GBP USD, now GBP USD again didn't do much. I'll stream this on Friday. I was saying on Friday I wanted us to come down from this level here. We're still low-key inside this candle here. We haven't actually done much. We kind of pushed up, come back to it again, and we're kind of just holding this area. So I feel like, you know, I do want to see this push down first. I want to see if we can get a drop from here. Target this low, target this low, target this low. That's what I'm expecting. So it really depends on what happens today, if we can get that entry. But that's one of the main things I'm looking at. I do expect GBP USD to fall, to go lower. That's the plan. Euro USD similar as well. Euro USD similar. Now this one's not as clear of an image in terms of just the 4 hour. Slightly. We've got this imbalance here. Okay, that's kind of where we are right now. The GBP USD one, yeah, it's not quite there. And then coupling it with what the dollar's looking like, it's really a waiting game right now. So we need to see what happens on those pairs. The Dow Jones US 30 opened up to the downside, pushed up. This is an area that was there from Friday. As you can see, Monday went up into that area again, taking out Friday's highs, and then we've kind of pushed down lower. So for me, I expect us to get below the low of Sunday. So Sunday's open. Definitely expect to take this area out. The higher up it goes, to be honest, I'm still expecting it to come down. The higher up it goes, the better the sell opportunity. So it's kind of, you know, as and when we target this. But the structure, you can see the structure is starting to break down lower, in my opinion. So there's still more imbalance up here. It could want to potentially fill some more. That is possible. Not going to rule that out. But for me, I want to see it fall, to be honest with you. I don't know if we're going to make a new high now. Overall, we could potentially push to this area, but the way the market blew down here yesterday and then pushed back up, I feel like we're just potentially retesting. So, overall, still bullish, like in terms of the daily picture, still climbing high. This is where we're at overall in terms of the structure, the bigger the time frame. Overall, yes, still bullish. I think personally, I want to see us get to this level for, big buys. I don't think we quite got there yet. So, with all the uncertainty and things that is happening in the Middle East, that could be the catalyst. It could definitely, the stock market would definitely fall if something starts to happen over there. So we got to kind of see. So again, monthly imbalance as well. Weekly eye candle pushed into, and then the daily picture is engulfing down. And now the 4 hour to me looks like, structurally we're starting to come down. Swing points, right? Coming past those swing points. So for me, I feel like we're starting to get the legs down now. I feel like this is what it's trying to do potentially. Now, where it's going to turn bullish from, not sure. I do think we can overall go higher, but I think we are looking to come down. So it's just a waiting game to see if we can get entry. So for today, I would like to see if we can push past this area here. When I say push past, push into this area here. That's where I potentially look to get some shorts from if they develop today. That's kind of what's on the agenda. Excuse me. Yeah, that's kind of what's on the agenda, guys. Let me know if you guys got any comments or questions, things and such, and I'll do my best to answer. So I'm currently on YouTube, streaming on YouTube. I'm also on TikTok, streaming on TikTok. So yeah, if you're not following me on TikTok, trying to get to 1,000 to make the streaming thing a bit easier. I think you get more, there's less restrictions or something like that. So if you're on TikTok, give me a follow, institutional_J. You'll find me. But yeah, guys, sessions just started. We're not currently at any areas yet. We're just kind of monitoring, see what GBP USD does. If we can get in this area, cool. I want to see how we can, what we're looking at when we get here. Now, obviously, with the news tomorrow, I am a little bit cautious as well, for the simple fact that anything can happen with the news, But the inflation data for the pound will be interesting. And when it comes to the interest rate for the US, I'm probably not going to trade that. I don't really like to trade that late. It's 7 p.m. GMT time, and there's normally only a couple hours left of the New York session. So I'm not really a fan of that, to be honest with you. So I probably won't trade that. So oil was pretty clean going into this morning. Pushing up higher. There was an area below. I felt like we was going to get there going into Tuesday, but that's fine. These things happen. But overall, I feel like if we do go higher, we can actually get a reaction from above to push down lower. But overall, it is bullish. I do think oil is going to climb high. It's just about understanding where we are within the range, what it wants to do. Take out potentially the Asian high right here. So these are Asian highs from this morning. It could potentially go for that. There's also Asian highs here. It could go for that too. So it's really area by area right now. Because if you look at the volume, yes, is pushing up from this morning, but then, it's kind of just chopped its way up as well. So now that New York's open, I want to see what's in store today. So yeah, guys, if you've got any questions, please let me know. I'll be sure to answer them. Let's have a look. How did I get started? So I got started a long time ago, bro, to be honest. So my journey was it was quite different. Hold on, I'll answer that. Yeah, so my journey was different, bro, to be honest. The main entry in was learning just let me just mute this. Yeah, the main thing was getting into learning the basics, I first invested into cryptocurrencies back in 2018. So after Bitcoin had done its thing, it went to just shy of 20K. I started hearing about it. So that was kind of my first entry in where it was like, okay, I was still in work at the time, but I was thinking about starting my investment journey, like what to do with the money that I was saving from work. Because I was just like, you know what? I always heard that you need more than one income, in order to actually start getting into that financially free mode and all of that stuff. So I started investing into cryptos after Bitcoin had boomed. Didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. The main thing I invested in was XRP. I also invested in Litecoin at the time, and I also invested in Monero at the time. And I remember looking at the charts, and I was just like, I don't know what any of this means. So that was kind of a big thing for me to kind of be like, if I'm going to invest in it, it's kind of your business and it's your duty to, do your due diligence and understand what it is that you're signing up for. So that's when the Forex journey began. Learning online through a platform, basically, learning the terminologies, all of that stuff, trying to figure out what the charts were saying. But the methods we was learning and the platform we was learning from, so it was me and two of my friends at the time, we started together, right? Because we were at the same ambitions of trying to get out of work. Now, in regards to what we was learning, was it the right information? I'm not sure. There was a lot of voices at the time, a lot of people that are more experienced than us at the time that we're listening to, but then you come to find that they're still finding their feet as well. So there wasn't really no mentor to begin with. It was kind of just us trying to figure out terminology and obviously back testing what we was learning, support and resistance, RSI indicators, all of this stuff. Then we took a trip to Vegas. We went to a Las Vegas trading convention in the end of 2018, and met some people out there, some American traders out there, and their methods were very, very different. So when they was teaching us what they was showing us, like when we started to backtest their methods, we was like, okay, cool. They're teaching us something totally different than what we've currently or heard of before. And when we kind of, started backtesting their methods, we was like, okay, what they're saying actually has like concrete evidence, like you can really see what they're doing, right? So I ended up paying for some mentorship from one of the traders that I met out there, and kind of just went through his methodology, and I really learned everything that he was doing and applied it. And then obviously as you gain the experience and refine, you start learning more about the charts anyway. So after 3 years of failing, where you're not really seeing any money, like if anything we're losing money, that's when we started to actually see the breakthroughs happening. That's when we started to see the light bulb moments, if you want to call them that, where it's like, okay, cool, this is what we need to be doing. So a lot of it came with trials and tribulations. A lot of it came with losing, in regards to just you're learning from your losses. Like a lot of people think you can avoid losing. There's no way to avoid losing. And losing is actually an experience, in my opinion, that you need. And why I say that is because the more you lose and you actually journal and you backtest your trades, you're going to find out more about yourself, but you're also going to find out more about the market. Meaning, when it comes to why you're losing, you're going to understand why you're losing. Now, if you're doing sporadic stuff that is not part of your strategy and you don't actually have a trading plan, then you're not going to really learn anything from losing, because you're not following any set of rules, right? You have to have a set of rules. If you have no set of rules, trading's not going to work for you. Truthfully speaking, it didn't work for me for 3 years because I didn't follow the plan. I wasn't following the trading rules. I was bending my ability to either engage in the market when it was actually showing me something, I was able to just bypass my rules in order to do that. Mainly out of potentially boredom, or mainly you're trying to make money, or whatever it may be, right? Maybe you've got bills to pay and you're trying to flip money. All of those things, the market doesn't care about. The market doesn't understand what it is your needs and your desires are, right? So you have to understand that if you're not in control of those things, yeah, it's likely to be a problem. So if you're actually following a trading plan, what I would say is you need the losses to actually sharpen your skills and to sharpen your edge a bit. So once I really started to deploy, I either have a trade or I don't, and I'm sticking to what it is my criteria is in order to enter. I need to see certain things in order to enter. Once you start doing that and you journal, even though you're losing, if you're following your rules, you're going to understand what you're doing wrong. Okay, so part of it is psychology, but there is a skill element to it as well, meaning you do have to do the work. If you don't do the work, then nothing changes. Like, you're just going to repeat the cycle, right? Anyone can have a good week in trading, yeah, but you can also have a bad week that wipes out everything because you're not following no rules. So don't just listen to me, guys. Like, that's just my story into it. That's just kind of how I got better at it, right? But when you actually think about the guys that are, I don't know, some of the big names in the industry, they're all saying the same thing. If you listen to them, they're all saying the same thing, right? They all have different methods maybe, but they're all actually saying the same thing. So you realize that the part that you're missing is the psychology part. It normally is the psychology part. It's never really a skill issue. It's more, can you be patient? Can you actually block out your impulses? Can you actually take losing on the chin? Right? A lot of people can't lose. You don't know how to lose, right? So all of these things get in your way of you actually becoming a better trader, because you seem to think the market's wrong. The market's never wrong. It's something we're doing. So you have to understand that, right? So the more we can understand that aspect of it, that's where the area shows up that you need to work on. So going back to my journey after 2021, the crypto markets moved again. So where I was in a loss from 2018, I had to hold, my investments were down, right? I didn't buy them at city prices, but they just went down after the Bitcoin boom. Obviously, Bitcoin went to crazy low figures, and then I had to hold through that. But 2021, I actually saw a good return on my money. So from then, the timing of it was kind of lining up in regards to things starting to click for me in Forex as well. So that's kind of the journey. And then again, as time has gone on, I've been able to see good returns from it. So quitting my job, when I first started, was the goal. That was what I wanted to do because I was getting bored of what I was doing. And then going into, investing and then learning how to trade full time was, it was a very, very, it's one of the hardest things I've done for sure. I'm not going to make it seem like it was easy. It wasn't easy. But it took time, but it also took correcting the mistakes and understanding where I was going wrong. Now, you can definitely shorten your learning curve if you have a mentor. That's where we went wrong. We didn't have a mentor in the beginning. There was no one giving us sound advice. You can shorten your span of how long it takes to really stomp out the issues you're facing if you have a set of rules that you're following, if you have a trading plan and all of these things. Yeah, but that's my journey, I don't regret doing anything. It's just that who you come into contact with at the time and who's in your network at the time, it really does define what your journey is going to be and your experience is going to be. So luckily we took that trip to Vegas, to be honest with you. That was one of the best things we could have done. So yeah, it was well worth it in the end. It was worth it. So someone said, do you trade on combination of price action, SMC, ISCT? Yeah, so price action and is the main thing. There's, like you can see, if anyone's watching my chart, there's no indicators. It's just areas, right? Some people call it SMC. Some people say supply and demand. It really just depends on what your understanding is. So what I'm getting at is it don't really matter in regards to your method. It's more, what have you seen that works and what are you actually seeing in the chart that you can use as a confirmation to either tell yourself you have a trade or you don't have a trade. That is kind of the main thing, right? You don't want to get too caught up on, it's this method or no method. A lot of people I've seen online, they kind of clown people. Like, I don't want to label myself a smart money trader because those people are kind of toxic and they kind of have this weird complex where if you don't trade that way, you're trading the markets the wrong way. I don't believe that at all. There's guys out there that trade support and resistance and make money. So I don't really label myself SMC trader or ICT trader because it's a cult, bro. I don't really care about that. Do you know what I mean? Does your methods work? A lot of those people, right? You gotta understand they're doing a lot of theory to make it to dress it up and make it sound good, but in theory, it's just like, yeah, you can pick and choose when you entered the market, and this is your setup, and this is where it was, and that's not live trading though. A lot of those people, they get stuck in theory mode and they stay in theory mode. That's what I've kind of clocked with them. So that's just from being online, seeing what people do, Twitter, all of these places where all of these communities are. It's all theory based. Like, no one's really showing you the ins and outs. No one's showing you this. No one really talks about psychology. Everyone talks about the skills, but the psychology is the biggest hurdle you have to overcome. So don't get too caught up on labels. Don't get too caught up on what your actual trading method is. Get caught up and fall in love with the process of finding out what you're seeing and what you're not seeing, because you can have a goal to make X amount per week or a goal to make X amount per day, but if you have no entry or you don't have reasons to engage the market, then realistically you're just gonna, it don't matter, the market doesn't care. It's not gonna give you the opportunity to make what you want to make. So you really need to understand and grasp that aspect of it first, in my opinion, because if you get too caught up on trading a specific way, you're kind of closed off from learning new things. So I've tried and tested it. I used to trade with an indicator. I've done all of that. I used to trade with an RSI. I've tried the RSI. I used to trade with a volume indicator. I tried the volume indicator. I tried Bollinger Bands. Like, all of these things, like, someone out there still uses those things, but for me, I just found that it's not necessary. You don't actually need any of those things. The main thing you guys need to learn, if you don't already, is market structure. The market structure tells you everything, right? The next thing is having areas, POIs, areas of interest, a point of interest. If you have no point of interest, then you don't really, the market isn't going to, you shouldn't want to engage in a market, is what I would say, right? You either have somewhere you want to engage or you don't have a trade. So that's just, simplify it. Like, learn market structure, like, really, really go back, like, and study market structure, because that's going to tell you everything that the price is doing. So I would say I'm a price action trader. That's what I actually like to say I am, is a price action trader, right? I want to know what the price is doing in certain areas, but I'm looking for the price to show me things and give me the confirmation to believe in my trade off of that. All of these fancy names, I'm telling you, most of those guys it's just all theory for them. So I don't really want to be labeled one of those, to be honest with you. So no disrespect to anyone that does label themselves that. You guys probably know it's a bit of a cult as well in the low. Everyone's just persecuting each other, and it's like, bro, we're all just trying to make money out here. Do you know what I mean? We're all trying to feed our families and better ourselves. So I don't really get too caught up in the labels. I couldn't care less about the labels, to be honest with you. So that's the main thing. So let me just check this chat. How did you get started? Forex or futures? Both, really, bro. To be honest. Both, really, man. It's both. Which one do I prefer? So lately I've preferred futures. Slightly, only really slightly. The reason for that is because the price action's a bit more precise. With Forex, right, there's different data feeds. So you've got FXCM, you've got Oanda, You got forex.com. So there's different data feeds, and they can slightly be different. And sometimes that can force you to miss out on maneuvers, is what I would say. So futures is a bit more accurate, and the price is slightly different. So this will be 13563, right? If we go to, I've got a futures menu. This is so GBP USD is 13572. So it's slightly different in price. Excuse me, it's slightly different in price, but the actual price movement is the same. Now the areas are the same, but it's just different prices. But I feel like when it comes to, and I still look at both, to be honest with you, just to give me a different look. I still look at both, but futures is a bit more precise. What I've noticed with the entries, it's a bit more precise. But futures obviously costs a little bit more to trade it. You kind of need a bigger account and stuff like that. Whereas Forex, you can leverage smaller accounts. That's why people with smaller accounts tend to do Forex. That's the biggest difference that I've noticed, is that with futures, you need a bit more money. And with Forex, there's slight differences in the price. So if you've got a broker, if you're looking at charts on TradingView, but then you've got a broker, it could be slightly different. Whereas futures, if you've got a chart on futures here and then you've got a broker, it's the same. It's a bit more, the areas are a bit more precise. That's the only difference really that I've noticed. But I like them both. Unlimited, don't get me started on FX price action lately. Unlimited leverage is too goated. So the main thing is, bro, is be careful with leverage. Be careful with leverage, bro. Don't get too carried away or caught up in leverage, because yes, you can make more money, but you can also lose more money if you've got higher leverage. So your goal should be to, wherever you are within your journey, your goal should be to trade your own money for starters, right? And if you are trading your own money, then props. But if you're building a small account, you still want to get it to the point where trading your own account makes sense. Because if you've got a small account, there's more ways for you to leverage more money. Now, a lot of people are going down the prop firm route. You've even got futures prop firms as well. Top Step. What other ones are there? I think Apex is another one. There's a few others out there where you can trade futures, but you can also try and leverage bigger accounts in doing so. And the futures accounts are not as pricey as if you're doing Forex, like FTMO accounts. The bigger accounts are quite pricey. So I would always get go down the route of trading your own money. And if you want to do futures or if you want to do Forex, it's up to you. But just be careful with leverage, because yes, you can make more money with a smaller account, but you can also lose more money too. And that breeds pain. That breeds pain. 1000%. I started on low leverage till learning. Excuse me, let me just make this a bit smaller. So I learned trading probably up my. I prefer a personal account over funded personally. Yeah, I mean you should. You definitely should. So it's all about, getting to a point where you trade your own money. Now the reason I say this is because you're not trying to make money every single day, or hopefully that's not your mindset, because you should have a bit more of a reservation about losing money if it is your own money. There's a bit more of a mentality to protect your capital when it is your own money. Like, you're not just trying to trade for the sake of trading it. When it's a prop firm account, you can trade it every day because yes, you're trying to get to past the funded stage and actually trade live, and that can force you to make mistakes because you're trying to make money. But when it's your own money, you're a bit more protective over it, and it's a bit more of a relaxed approach. You need to kind of see certain things and wait on the market to show you certain things to really believe in the trade, and that's how I feel like it should be. Otherwise, it could be a whirlwind. 1 minute you're up, next minute you're down, and stuff like that. So that's you don't want to get it to that level where it's like a hobby. I always say to everyone, it's not a hobby. It really isn't. You kind of want to take this seriously. You kind of want to take your time and understand your confirmations, where you're entering from, all of these things. Otherwise, yeah, man, it's you're in the up and down phase. You want to get out of the up and down phase for sure. So I'm monitoring 2 accounts right now. So I am streaming on YouTube as well. If you don't follow me on YouTube, please do. There's a lot of content I've got on there for you guys. What trading concepts would you recommend to learn to adapt to different conditions? What trading would you recommend to learn to? See, that's the thing. Like, there's no. It's a good question, right? But there's no. You can't like tie 2-3 different concepts into your strategy. It's difficult to do that. The reason I say it's difficult to do that is because you're basically abandoning a set of rules that you've got in place, right? For whatever your strategy is. But then if the conditions don't meet the criteria for you to use those rules, you want to find another set of criteria. Like, you don't really want to do that, to be honest with you. I wouldn't recommend having different ways to trade, right? Because you're gonna not rely on one more than the other, but like, you're not gonna know when to switch if the conditions are a certain way. You're not gonna know when to switch off and switch back on. You're not gonna know how to do that. It's very difficult to do that. So that's too complicated, in my opinion. I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. The reason being is it's hard enough to follow one set of rules. To follow 2 different sets of rules, I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's very hard to do. And trading's already hard to master it in one set of, criteria and one set of rules. So I wouldn't recommend trying to adapt to different market conditions. You just have to understand that, look, the markets are going to be trending sometimes, and the markets are going to be consolidating in a range sometimes. And if your strategy doesn't work in certain conditions, just wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting for the market to get back to conditions you like to trade. And that took me time to figure out as well. Like, I don't want to preach that to you. Like, I had that figured out from the beginning. I was making those mistakes as well. I understand exactly those mistakes as well. And that way of thinking, like, what do I do if my pair's like not showing me what I want to see? How do I still trade it? Like, sometimes the best trade is no trade. Honestly speaking, sometimes the best trade is no trade. Certain days you got to be comfortable, right? Coming up to the charts, coming onto the markets, and not seeing anything. Sometimes you got to do that, especially when there's news events. Like I said, tomorrow we have big news events. You've got the inflation data coming. You've got the interest rate coming. That's how many people do you think are anticipating that tomorrow? Nobody knows the result for that, right? So you can't predict what the market's going to do if the market is waiting for that anticipation. I hope that resonates as well, because those are things that are not in your control. You're trying to control what the market's going to do when it's in an environment that isn't giving you what you need to see. If the conditions are not probable, there's nothing you can do about it. If it's not an easy read, don't try and make it an easy read by making your strategy, some type of chameleon where it can shapeshift or switch. Like, it's just very difficult to do that. So I wouldn't even recommend trying to get multiple strategies, bro, because in theory it sounds like, yeah, I can do this, but trust me, if your rules are being bent, right, you're going to program yourself to believe in one set of rules, and then when that doesn't work, you're going to try and tell yourself, this is the other set of rules I have. That's very difficult to do. So the market either has conditions that you like and you can trade, or it doesn't have conditions you like or you can trade. That's what stops you pressing buttons every day when you don't have a trade. Stop thinking the market is going to give you a trade every day. It might not give you a trade. You can turn up. I don't know what pairs you guys trade, right? Let me know what pairs you do trade. But let's say you trade... what's a pair out there? Euro USD. You might come to Euro USD 1 week, every single day, 5 days, and it's gone sideways. And because you don't know what way it's really going, you're confused about it. That's okay. Like, you don't know what it's doing because it's in a range. Maybe you wanted to see it break out the range, but it didn't. Wait for the market to show you what it's trying to do. Then make a decision. If the conditions are not lining up, What do you want? What are you going to do about that? What can you do about it? That's the main question. What are you able to do about it? Nothing. Because otherwise, you're just going to press buy and sell off every candle where it's going up or going down. There's no rules that you're following. There's no rules that you're following. So there's no way to adapt to the market conditions by learning other strategies. I wouldn't recommend that. You either have your strategy that you've tested and you know works and you can actually rely on when it shows you those opportunities, or you have sporadic trading where you're just in it to try and fill something, to try and make money. Money isn't the end goal in regards to trading. It's learning the skill, bro. You have to learn what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to waste your money. You're going to make money, you're going to lose money. You're going to make money, you're going to lose money. That's what happened to me. You have to understand that certain times the conditions ain't there. So I'm a firm believer of it's a game of how much money you can keep over how much money you can make. 100%. 100%. How much money you can keep over how much money you can make. This is about capital preservation, for sure. Definitely about capital preservation. So some days you're going to turn up, it's going to give you what you need. Some days you're going to turn up, it's not going to give you what you need. Right? But you can't control that. All you can do is turn up. All you can do is continuously turn up. So, right now, I'm waiting on areas to be met. If and when the areas are met, we may have a trade. So, we've got 50 minutes to the stock open. Let's see. I'm interested in US 30, man. See what we can do. Two potential areas. This is one right here. This is another right here. These are the areas for US 30. So, got a bit of a blocked nose today. So, US 30. Again, the dollar. I want to see the dollar push up, to be honest. Might happen today, might not happen today. I want to see Euro USD come to this daily area right here. Okay, if we get in this daily imbalance, maybe we could potentially get more buys. That's all I have right now. Even if you look at the 4 hour on Euro USD, it's gone up, it's come down, it's gone up, so nothing's really occurring. Now, why have I looked at this area here? Is because of this imbalance we have right here. Yeah, if you want to couple it with the eye candle, you can. Right here, this is what I have. Yeah, I want to see this blast down. I want to see it come down here. Potentially come down here. Overall, the buy area for me is here. I want to see us get down to here. Now, it may not do that today. It may wait for the interest rate tomorrow for the US. It's very, very possible. There's no news today. There was retail sales, but not really interested in retail sales, to be honest with you. But again, that's what I want to see for the dollar. I want to see us push up to potentially come down. If we could get to here, this is where I think we could potentially see the market drop from excuse me, see the market drop from going into the interest rate decision, because it is bearish. Dollar's definitely not bullish, right? There are also some equal highs here. So, the market could potentially burst through here and then take out this liquidity. So very, very interested in that. The higher the better, to be honest. The higher the better. The higher the dollar goes, the better. It means the buyers are going to be bigger. That's all it means. GBP USD, I want to see some of this liquidity taken. Because again, if you look at the daily picture, we kind of boomed from this area in terms of the structure, right? We boomed up to this area, and then we've kind of just been taking our time, tiptoeing. We haven't started trending again. So I feel like we need a retracement to capture some of this liquidity, right? And then we can get more buyers. But obviously, depending on how low the dollar drops, is what's gonna give us the answer to, you know, how big the buyers are gonna be. But overall, it is still a bullish trend for me. I just think we need a retracement. So maybe the inflation data tomorrow is the catalyst. Not gonna rule that out. But this is part of doing your analysis and sticking to your plan, right? I'm showing you guys these areas to let you know that that's the plan for what I want to see. Does it always go in my favor in terms of my plan playing out? Of course not. But if you don't have a plan, you're more susceptible to just start doing things on the chart, and you don't want to do that. You don't need to do that. You really don't need to do that, okay? So just stick to the plan. Whatever you have in your mind and you set out, try and execute on that as best as you can. Yeah. If the market does something different than what you had in store for the plan, no problem. You reassess, reanalyze what other areas do you have? What's the next area you have? There's never you should never have just one area that you was trying to wait on in regards to, you know, this level here. Let's say it came lower than this level here. You want to see the buy form here, but then it goes for that one or that one. So you always want to have areas where it's okay, it's pushing past here, it's not showing me what I want to see yet. Cool, no problem, right? What's the next area? So it's always reassessing, constantly reassessing. So you'll know when the market is doing what you want to do, and you'll know when it's like, I need to wait for more information, okay? And when it comes to entries, remember guys, right? Entries are normally on a smaller time frame. So again, this is where reading the structure is going to come into, you know, your favor, right? You shouldn't analyze on smaller time frame structure in terms of what you think the market is going to do. It's only for your entries. Yeah, 15 minutes and lower. I like 15 minutes. I like the 10 minutes sometimes. I like the 5 minutes sometimes, right? Sometimes I like lower than that. But what you got to understand is I'm not analyzing the market on this time frame. Everything is bigger. It should be bigger, 4 hour and up. Just so that you're not, you know, getting drowned out. You're not getting drowned out, or you know where you are within the actual price. So just some tips and tricks that, you know, you guys can kind of take on board. It's really good to take that on board too. So excuse me, I'm a little bit blocked up today, so sorry if I sound a little funny, but there's not much I can do today. Just set remedy, you know. Right, so oil is in a range. So again, look at oil, right? A lot of people will try and trade what it's doing, and it's like, it's difficult to do so, in my opinion. So let's just wait. Now, if we come to past this low here, and we play into this imbalance here, potentially there's an area here. Okay, potentially. Excuse me. Okay, so that's all I have at the moment. There's no trades on at the moment. This was the area from last night. It pushed up here. It retested it this morning and it pushed up. So overall, I do think it can go higher. If this area is invalidated in full, then overall, again, the biggest buy that I'm interested in is right here. This is what I wanted to see on Tuesday. So Monday it dipped down and then we pulled back up into here and then we pushed up here. But Tuesday I thought, yes, so yesterday the thought process was, okay, it's going to close in and around here. Maybe we dip into here. This is where I want to buy from in full. Okay. But I'm still wary of the fact that this could be a buy too. So there's always multiple areas that you can play from. But it's having the patience and the understanding to stick to those areas and not just start reacting to the candles. Don't ever do that. It doesn't work in your long term. It's not going to work in your favor. Intuition is a real thing, but also having a trading plan is part of the intuition, you know? So here, reasons to go higher, yes, for sure. Definitely reasons to go higher. Reasons to go lower as well, though. So you know, don't get caught up on a bias, and don't take it personal if your area is invalidated. Just find another area. So what pairs do you guys trade mainly? Let me know. What pairs do you guys trade? If you want me to look at a pair, I can do that for you. Just let me know what pairs you trade. I'll have a look. Cool. All right. So CAD CHF. Wow, UJ. CAD CHF is that's a different pair, bro. I'll check both of them for you guys. But those pairs, UJ is cool. To be fair, I'm not really a fan of yen pairs though. But UJ is a major, so cool. Let me check those for you though. CAD CHF. That's crazy. But I'll check it for you for sure. CAD CHF. Let me add that. I don't even have it on my thingy. What made you pick that pair, bro? That's a brazy pair. CAD CHF. Please tell me you're from Canada or you're from Switzerland or something. Because that will make sense. EUGU Bitcoin Gold. 4 pairs. Yeah, it's not bad. 4 pairs is cool. I wouldn't look at more than that though. So UJ and CAD CHF, right? So let's check these out. Alright, cool. So CAD CHF, I mean, this has not been great. Even just looking at the daily, like, look at this on the daily, okay? This is what's happening on the daily. This is nasty. Since April, this has been in the range. Okay, I don't know why I don't want to disrespect you, but this ain't the pair, bro. It's not really moving much. Okay, the reason I'm saying that is from. I'll do the top to the bottom. From the top to the bottom, this has moved 146 pips, bro. In over a month. Yeah. that's not you. This there's I don't know. Maybe you don't like the volatility and you want a slow pair. I hear it, but this ain't really doing much, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. This isn't doing much at all. So one thing that has happened is the lower the range got dipped. Okay, on Friday last week. So that range low has been dipped. Okay. You still got the top of the range here, but just let me go on the weekly quick. Ugh, the weekly is disgusting, bro. Honestly, this pair's not really moving much, bro. Look at the volume last month. Okay, yeah, April had some volume, but it's just not great, to be honest with you. So what I'll say is you've had the lows dip, so I'm not sure if you are aware that this low got dipped. There would have been liquidity there, and it's reacted off of that. Now, since reacting off of that, we've seen the market shift some structure, which is great. Okay, you've had this high here, you had this low here, okay, and then it's shifted past that. So the 1 hour's definitely changed character, which is great, but now it's just about waiting for potential retracement. Okay, I would look at this area here potentially. This level here is what I'd be looking for to come back in, right? But it's just I don't know when it's gonna do that. Couldn't tell you when it's gonna do that, to be honest with you, bro. So that's what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for a retracement into some discounted price, and then I would look to buy it. But I don't know, even if you do buy it, bro, I don't know how long it's gonna take to actually start, pushing with volume. I couldn't tell you, bro. So yeah, not the best pair, in my opinion, bro. It's not the best pair. There's definitely better pairs out there. Maybe you had some joy with it. Maybe you like the small volume and stuff like that. I get it. It's just I feel like there's better pairs there for you, but it is up to you. I'm gonna knock you for your choice. Someone said UJ, so USD JPY. So I know someone who does very, very well on USD JPY. So not a bad pair at all. I don't like yen pairs. Not my favorite thing to trade. But at least with the DXY, it will follow what the DXY is doing. So that's some grace. So you've got some lows here. It's kind of been in a small range itself, to be honest with you. Going back to April, checking the monthly. This is where we're at in the monthly. Okay, so it is kind of bullish, to be honest. Maybe it can continue the bullishness. These are old markings. Let me get rid of these. These are super old. So I did used to look at UJ, but a very, very long time ago. Hence, you see the pound signs and stuff. So, right. So daily is range bound as well. We kind of pushed up here last month, excuse me. And we played into that imbalance. Right. So, all right, cool. So, right, that makes sense as to what's occurred here. All right, so on the 4 hour, you had price play into here. Right, played into this imbalance. It took out this liquidity from these highs, and then it moved down. Now, since moving down, it's just gone back into the range. So I feel like it's going to attempt to go back up. Right, so going on to the daily, what you want to do is watch for each area, to be honest. So the next high here, I'm definitely watching for if we get above there. Another high here, want to watch for that too. Right, those are the next areas that it could potentially go. Now it could go down as well, definitely. Right, there's a load of areas above and below. So I would watch for those areas too. But overall, again, this is not the best price action. You know, it's not the best price action in terms of it's moving up, it's moving down, it's moving up. Now, low key since last week, it's been sideways. You know, right here. So what I would monitor is which area gets targeted first. That's what I would monitor. You know, because it could drop down here and then turn into a buy. It could push up here and then turn into a sell. So I don't know if you have a trade on right now or what your current bias is right now for this pair. But for me, the 4 hour picture and the daily is not showing me much. You know, it's not showing me much. I would favor it going up. Um, Reason being, I'd favor it going up is just it's off the volume that we're getting. It could potentially pierce these highs, but it might stall out until tomorrow. Honestly, I feel like most major pairs are gonna stall out until the interest rate tomorrow. I won't expect any big moves leading up into the interest rate for reasons that are hopefully obvious. You know, a lot of people are waiting on that result. So this is another area as well. If it did spike down, see what happens in here, bro, because that's where the buy up started from. So if it retested here, if it slammed down, took out all this liquidity, slammed into here, then I would potentially watch that area for a buy as well. But if it goes up first, then it could fill the rest of that imbalance and start to formulate a sell. Or it could take out the daily highs and formulate a sell. So a lot of things to watch, but that's what you got to kind of have eyes on. That's what you should be marking. So UJ not the greatest. So EU and GU I've gone through, so I won't go through them again. Someone said gold, right? So gold, I'm surprised gold hasn't made a new all-time high off of what happened with the Iran thing the other day. I'm surprised gold didn't push up more. Which is, again, if gold comes down anytime soon. So right now, gold is in this candle. This was was this a 1 hour? Yeah, so 1 hour area. We're currently in this 4 hour area. So gold's reached this 4 hour area here. So this is an area where the buyers reacted from. So now it's just about seeing what is the dollar want to do. Is there enough to suggest this is a buy for gold yet? No, because the structure hasn't changed. So as much as it's in this 4 hour candle, there's no structure change. Yeah, so I don't think it's a buy. If anything, it could even come down for this liquidity here. This is like a double bottom right here. Okay, but overall it is bullish, but there's no change in structure for me. Okay, so if and when the structure does change, and it changes from this area, that's when I'd be interested for buys. But it's not done that yet. It's kind of come here and gone sideways. So could come lower, could come further into this candle. But again, it really does depend on the interest rate. It's hard to call what the interest rate is going to do for the market, like from a directional perspective. Excuse me. I don't know. The only point. There's no point guessing. You're not really going to get the answer for that. Izzy, what's happening? Aye, love to see it. Say hi. Izzy know me for a while. Looking at gold and still, aye, you've been champion in EU, man. EU's cool. It's slow though. As you know, it's a slow pair, man. It is a slow pair. But gold, yeah, hopefully that's the analysis for gold. For those that was, inquiring. I don't trade gold. I don't like the wicks. It's too wicky for me. Way too wicky for me. Trading from South Africa aligns with my current lifestyle, balancing work and trading. It's been slow lately, yeah, but that big bullish rally is going to shock people. Yeah, I reckon it has reasons to go up. Definitely targeting the bottom of the range first. I do think it has reasons to go up. So I'm with you, bro. If that's what suits your lifestyle, totally get it. Totally understand. Totally understand, bro. It's understandable. I get you. Alright, so let me go back to my pairs now. Okay, oil's slightly moving down. EU's reacted out of that level. Again, still in a range though. I feel like it's not really gonna break down today. Truthfully, I feel like we're gonna stall. I feel like this is what the dollar's gonna do today. Just stall out. Main reason I say that is because, again, experience, knowing that the interest rate is basically the biggest factor of the month. It's the biggest moving factor of the month. Everyone, it's the most anticipated news. Whenever a central bank is talking about monetary policies, that's the biggest driver of any market. So I feel like we're gonna stall. I feel like we're just waiting for that decision. As you can see here, like, we've made out a lot of liquidity below. Has a lot of reasons to go and tackle that. Maybe it slams down. Maybe it goes up and leaves this target, and then that's what it's gonna come for. So either way, have a plan, guys. Just have a plan. That's the best advice I could give you. Have a plan. That way you're not guessing. You know, there's no guesswork involved. It should never be guesswork involved. US 30. Hopefully US 30 can potentially give us some shorts. That's what I'm waiting on. But 230, I'm waiting on the stock open. I was trading the NAS up until last week. But the NAS price action, man, they started moving funny on me. So I had to kind of look at the other indices and be like, alright, is it me or is it the markets? And I realized it's the market. I was basically getting into trades on the NAS with the right analysis, the right bias, and it was just stalling. And then the indices, Dow Jones was moving with the same bias that I had, and I realized, okay, it's not me, it's the pair that I'm looking at. Sometimes the pair that you trade isn't that compliant, should we say. It doesn't go with your strategy sometimes it's really not a strategy, it's the pair. Hence why I don't trade gold. Sometimes it's the pairs you pick. It's definitely the pairs you pick, So you gotta be careful. Whatever you do, just be careful. Excuse me. What? So 4 hour candle from last 4 hour candle printed on US 30 is nasty work. Truly nasty work. Mm. Two o'clock pushed up on the 2 o'clock candle. Okay. Did it. again. Alright, cool. So, yeah. So, guys, we chilling out, man. I'm waiting on the stock open. We got 20 minutes. Oil was pushed up on a 2-hour candle. Didn't quite get to this area, which is fine. It can do that. GU and EU have pushed down, but again, it's still in a range. GU, I feel like, needs to push up, to be honest. I would rather it push up, take out some of this liquidity that's just resting here, all of these highs. And then, yeah, US 30, same thing, really. We pushed up, we pushed down, but excuse me. Asian highs are held. It's very suspicious. EU slow but consistent. No, I feel you. Make sure you guys is following me. If you're not, subscribe to my YouTube as well. Oh. But yeah, what pairs you guys want me to look at? Let me know, because I'm checking my pairs. As you can see, I'm waiting on alerts. There's nothing really happening at this moment in time. That's just how it be. See, this is the part where people don't tell you, where it's not glamorous, where you're really just sitting by yourself at your desk waiting for stuff to happen, you know? This is the part where trading tests you. This is the part where you have to understand it's not all systems go. as soon as you log onto the desk. This is the part you have to understand and master and be comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with waiting, you don't deserve to be profitable, truthfully speaking. You shouldn't be in a rush to be putting money on the table to risk. You should not be in a rush to do that. There's never a lack of opportunity or, a scarcity of opportunity. There's always going to be opportunity. But if you feel like, damn, when's stuff going to happen? And you can't wait for it. You need to reassess. You need to put focus on that and reassess. You got to be patient sometimes. Go and look at the economic calendar as well, guys. Like, go and look at your pair. Be like, is there any news coming out? Is there something I need to be aware of? Especially if you trade majors. Most of the times, if there's major news coming out, that's what the market's waiting on. There's no foreseeing the event. There's no foreseeing what's going to happen. A lot of people are going to lose money tomorrow trying to trade the event. So just have a plan for each day. That's all you can do, guys. Have a plan for each day. See what happens. Right, when's this new 4 hour? Okay, it started. Alright. So yeah, price action's not the best right now. But that's what I'm saying. When the price action's not the best, what's your response to that? What are you gonna do or not do? These are all things you have to cover. What are you gonna do when the price action isn't doing nothing? How does it make you feel? Is another question. How does the price action not doing nothing make you feel? You leave it alone. It's a good answer, bro. But I leave it alone. But again, just analyze. That's the main thing, right? Just analyze it. Just be like, okay. Go flick through time frames. If you trade dollar pairs, go and look at the DXY. What's the DXY doing? Think about it like this, right? For the last, what day was this? Since Monday, this is what it's done since Monday. Yeah, that's what you have to think about. This is what it is showing you since Monday. What does that mean? That's the question, right? And then when you understand what is happening, it should put you at ease that, okay, it's not doing much. There's no volume, right? We think about it. Since Monday, we've had London, New York, Tuesday's come. We're now in New York again. We've had London. Nothing's occurred on the dollar. So what does that mean? It means it's likely going to stall until tomorrow. Why till tomorrow? Because there's the interest rate. The interest rate is very important. It's just super important, right? So without that data, what it means is even the guys with money, the big guys, the big fish, even they're not getting involved. So that's what you have to understand. If the big guys are not involved, why are you involved? You shouldn't be involved. Only the retail traders, right, are the ones pressing buttons right now. Buying and selling. Yeah? That's why normally they're the ones that lose, because all they're doing is adding money above and they're adding money below. That's all they're doing. Yeah? So it's just, you don't want to be a part of that, man. You want to be a part of a good opportunity. That's not a good opportunity. Believe me. So alright, so Yeah, they will get liquidated. But what I'm getting at is you don't want to add your money to that. You don't want to add liquidity to this. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. You don't want to add liquidity to price action like this. Why would you want to do that? You get it. You're signing yourself up for a failure, bro. It doesn't make sense. You don't need to do that. Okay. So, the main thing is understanding that when the price is doing this, there's nothing for you to engage with. There's no volume. If the volume is low, you don't need to engage. That's all it means. That's literally all it means. $130 pushed up, didn't break out the range, it's coming back down. Yeah, that's all it means. So, what can you do? Nothing. Can't do anything. Right, so we got 4 minutes to the stock open. We're gonna wait on that. A couple minutes. Cool. Let's see. We 20 seconds out. Three, two, one. Alright, so still waiting on that push on US 30. Oil looks like it's retracing now. So I want to see if oil can get into this area potentially. Let's see. Yeah, alright, so it's just a waiting game really, guys. Again, the main event is tomorrow. Definitely be cautious if you're trading tomorrow before the interest rate. Don't expect, I don't think there'll be crazy moves before the interest rate. You might not get the real opportunity until Thursday, until the dust settles. So that's cool though. All you really need is 1 or 2 days out of the week to have a good setup. And it makes up for the rest of the, when you have a daily goal, right? Or you want to make money every day, it puts more pressure on it. Yeah. You don't need a trade every day because you might not get a trade every day. But when the dust clears and your bias is intact and you understand what it is that the market wants to do, that's the one you want to go all in on. Not all in literally, but those are the ones where it's like, I'm backing this horse, rather than every day you're trying to back a horse and the picture's not that clear. You don't know where it's trying to go. All of those things. So, yeah. Let's see what obviously this afternoon brings. But for me, I feel like we're waiting on the interest rate. Now, obviously, commodities can move. Stuff like oil can move. The indices can move as well. But the currencies might stall. So that's why it's good to look at a few different pairs sometimes as well. Sometimes currencies stall out, but you can still go to a commodity like oil, gold, or the Dow or the Nasdaq and potentially get something for the day. But even still, the interest rate will affect the indices as well. A higher interest rate is going to affect corporations. A lower interest rate is going to affect corporations. So something to consider as well. But that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it there. Thank you guys for joining me again. If you are new here, please follow me on TikTok and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's various content on there for free. I'm going to be live again on Friday. this week. Again, looking for opportunities in the market. So yeah, I'm trying to run this up on TikTok to 1,000 followers so that you get more. There's more things you can unlock. So I appreciate this. Is my first time streaming on TikTok, so I appreciate you for jumping in, and I'll see you guys on Friday. So just monitor the areas that I've been speaking about, especially if you're looking at the dollar pairs and the major currencies as well, and what we're seeing on US oil and again on US 30 potentially rise into this area, and then seeing what we can do from there. So yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure. I'll catch you guys. I'll catch up with